So let's talk about how to write the equation of a circle in standard form, and then we're going to talk about how to graph it. So the equation of a circle in standard form is given in this format. And essentially, the x will always be an x and the y will always be a y. The h and the k is the center of our circle, h and k. And I want you to notice that there are minus signs here. So if I end up with a positive 4, notice here it looks like a negative 4. If I end up with a negative 1, notice here it looks like a positive 1. The r, or r squared, is the radius of my circle squared. So again, if I look at a radius, that means from the center 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So my radius is 4. And that is what I would take squared then to put into my equation. I would square the 4. So the equation of this particular circle, because the center is at 4, negative 1 with a radius of 4 units, I would take x minus the x coordinate, quantity squared, plus y minus the y coordinate, so y minus negative 1 made it plus, and then equal, or quantity squared, and then equals the radius, which is 4, and squared. So first thing we're going to do is write the equation of a circle with center negative 2, 3 with a radius of 5, and then we're going to graph it by hand. And notice I already have a line on this graph. I'm going to explain to you in a minute what that's for, but for now let's just focus on the task at hand, which is to write the equation. So my equation is x minus negative 2, so I'm going to write x plus 2, quantity squared, plus y minus 3, we're always subtracting, but the plus goes here, equals, the radius is 5, I have to square 5 to get 25. So that's the equation of my circle. If I want to graph the circle, it's helpful just to start at the negative 2, 3, which is the center. And again, you can also do this on, say, Desmos or something. In my next video, I show you how to do that. The radius is 5, so really I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left, and then I'm just going to connect all of those 4 points that I just created as best I can in a circle. So don't be too hard on yourself, because it is hard to draw a circle freehand. Whoop, that was real bad. I'm going to try again. Again, don't be too hard on yourself, just do the best you can. And here's my circle. And then I want to find the points of intersection. I think I didn't do a very good job on this part, because I think it should go all the way out here. Again, when you do a question like this, you'll be doing this using a graphing utility. So the second question, and I threw it in there because I have one of these on your assessment as well. The second question is, find the length of the secant line. And the secant line is the distance from here to here. So I'm looking at the fact that I have 2 points of intersection, and those points are negative 6, 6 and 3, 3. And I'm going to then find the length of the secant line, which means from here I'm going to find the distance. So the distance is going to be the first x minus the second x squared, so notice here I'm subtracting because it's distance formula, plus the first y minus the second y, quantity squared. Negative 6 minus negative 3 is negative 9 squared, which is 81. 6 minus 3 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So I get the square root of 90, which I would write as 3 radical 10. Or, of course, you can use your calculator to find out what the square root of 90 is as a decimal, and it's about 9.487. Notice here I already have the equation of the circle, so now we're kind of going in reverse. We're saying, here's the equation, tell me what the center is and what the radius is. So really we're just working backwards from where we were before. remember my x value is always going to be the opposite of the sign, because remember this is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. Oh, have it written right there. And so h in this case is 8, even though this says minus 8, h is 8, but k, oops, this is supposed to be a k. But k, this is a plus 5, which means k must have been negative 5 for me to take y minus negative 5 to get plus 5. And then my radius would have to be the square root of 4, which is 2. We always use the positive value, which means the center is 8, comma, negative 5. The radius equals 2. Here is some mixed review for you dealing with equations of circles in standard form, so press pause, try all 3 questions, then press play to see how you did. So the first one, the equation of a circle, we're writing it. We're taking x minus 4 quantity squared plus y minus 0 quantity squared. Doesn't really make sense, because if we're subtracting 0, do we care? So it's just y squared equals, and then radius of 2, remember in my equation I'm going to take 2 squared to get 4, so that's my first solution. For my second solution, the equation of a circle with a center of negative 4, negative 3, I'm going to take x minus negative 4, which is plus 4 quantity squared, plus y, and then minus negative 3 is plus 3 quantity squared, equals, this one I threw in just for fun, if I take the square root of 5 and square it, I should get 5, so that one should be 5. The last one is the opposite. We're going in the reverse direction. This is saying this was x minus negative 1, and so the center is negative 1, comma, this is y minus 0 quantity squared, so 0 would be the other center point, so my center is at negative 1, comma 0. And then to find the radius, I'm taking the square root of 81, which of course is 9.